the discussion about efficiencies is sort of in two prongs. There's this sense that the public permissionless blockchain can bring efficiencies, and this sense that the composability and programmability brings efficiencies. And I want to note that they don't have to go together. Smart contracts predate blockchain technology. They can work with any kind of database or ledger. And I think that that's something to really focus on, given that the public permissionless blockchains themselves are inherently less efficient than more centralized alternatives. They have to be, otherwise it would be too easy for a sort of a bad guy, if you will, to take over the ledger. So I think it makes sense to really focus on experimentation with the programmability and composability on a more traditional type of ledger rather than the blockchain. And in fact, that's what we're seeing a lot around the world. So the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK does a lot of pilot programming with tokenization on permissioned ledgers. There's been a lot of experimentation by the Bank for International Settlements in that regard as well. So yeah, I do see this as a plumbing change, but I think we should think about why we want this plumbing change. And if it is about gaining efficiencies through programmability and composability, I think experimentation, sort of jettisoning the inefficiencies of the permissionless public blockchain are a good place to start. Gene, you want to respond to that?
One man's inefficiency is the other man's opportunity. I think it's both a digital asset and a technology. And one of the things we're doing with Permito Capital, a joint venture of ourselves and some ex-folks from Credit Suisse First Boston, is actually taking blue chip stocks and pulling them apart into their dividend component and everything else, and trading those separately both on the Chia blockchain and the New York Stock Exchange. The efficiencies here are really extreme. A couple things come to mind. For investors, you can buy 0.001 of a share. This has been a problem. I mean, you can do this in a sense at Robinhood because they will in the background make it work for you, but you didn't actually own that. And some of us have remembered 2008 and remember it was not a nice time to necessarily have to trust your broker or your clearing agency. But the other piece is in administering this product, it's going to be really difficult on DTCC. When an underlying company issues a reverse stock split or a spin out, being able to not decimalize becomes a tremendous pain in the derriere when you're actually trying to go and run one of these sorts of funds. And in fact, without the blockchain, we probably never would have done this sort of project in the first place. And my favorite version of this is tax. We're going to have to actually issue K1s to people who invest in these so they can get their accredited investor dividend treatment. We have to pay about $300,000-$400,000 to someone who goes and searches down everybody's social security number and name in the brokerage firms in the US. On the blockchain, we write it once and you come in, signify that you've got your correct wallet or vault, and all of a sudden we generate your K1 in real time for basically free. So, that is just a sense of what the opportunities are here. Now, I want to be clear, I'm talking about real securities. So there is no distinction in my mind. It's not, is Bitcoin a security? It's certainly not. But is a Microsoft dividend certificate issued by a Delaware trust a security? Absolutely. And it's going to be registered on Form S1. So I think that there are important points here that we can hope to choose regulations that would somehow box these things in, but liquidity and access are always hiding here. And so the reason that public blockchains are very powerful, even with their limitations of slightly slower transaction times, is not because, well, I'll say it this way, is an opportunity to have a 24/7, 365 market only mitigated by the size of the Pacific Ocean. So you're talking about
I pressed the incorrect transition button. What the? It's your boy Jim Rat. We went with the evening instead of the morning transition button. We don't care about that around here. That's just a whoopsie. Chat's already loaded. One of my things, and I get to preach to Cookies right now. I got him in the corner, so like he has to listen to me right now. One thing that I'm trying to do is make YouTube chat great again. Okay? I don't care who owns YouTube or which Winklevoss twin, whatever. Back in the day, it was biceps in the chat, constant. I come back, I make a comeback, I see all around other platforms, botted users, you know the deal. EVM to basically bots, people, no real interactions. Do you see where I'm going this? Guys, today is an episode, the final warning. Pshing! The final warning. Chia XCH, ticker Chia, and many more. But seriously, this is no jokes today. We're not talking about only meme coins, although we're giving away meme coins. See the link. We're talking about unlocking global finance. Okay. And there's only one technology. Some of us in the corner of the internet believe that we all love gains and everything and making money and all that and sloshing assets back and forth. But there is a corner of the internet that believes that there is only one technology that can get the trillions of dollars that is in legacy finance and merge it into the blockchain without risk, right? With real solutions, with real years of technology that people have been working on for years and talking about for years, while nobody really wants to listen because they're not willing to false advertise. They're not willing to say, this is going to pump in your face right now all the time, no matter what. I don't care about Minty. I don't care how much the miners are making. I don't care what the distribution is. I don't care about that. Well, you should care about that because that is what is actually going on. And I've noticed slowly but surely the Chia community is getting more impactful. And I'm talking about on the bro stage. Like I'm on the bro stage with the bros, and some killer bros are finding Chia. Some killer bros. Guys like Lane, young guys that, that's what it's all about. Real quick before Cookies is in the background, I'm just going to read this so we have it for the video. Unlocking global, this is the chia.net/about. Chia Network, unlocking global finance access, transparency, and empowerment with blockchain technology. We deliver solutions to enable enterprises to tokenize, custody, and trade any asset. First of all, this is a great read in general. Blockchain, the way it should be, reducing friction, increasing access. Created by Bram Cohen, the inventor of BitTorrent. They slid that in there. The underlying open source public Chia blockchain provides the secure and regulatory compliant infrastructure for Chia network technology. Our proprietary consensus mechanism, proof of time and space, drastically reduces energy requirements of proof of work. What's the main problem with Bitcoin? Literally, you have to burn a warehouse full of batteries to make it happen. So and it still works like a charm. Okay, so imagine a world where that'll only get 10 times worse, by the way. So that doesn't get better, I don't think. Security, technology, non-negotiable. Security first and scalability technology. The Chia blockchain remains one of the most decentralized networks in the world, providing increased security and fortifying the network, our products, and customers against attacks and manipulation. That is all Solana and all EVM chains are. Attacks and manipulation. That is it. All the money we made, attacks and manipulation, kind of. We were in the middle of it. So stuff like that, regulatory compliance from blockchains to products. All right, I'm not going to read the whole thing. We've seen Gene Hoffman, who was on this show for a live interview. He's in the SEC building talking to them in DC all day long, basically. So that's what he's doing. And our native currency, XCH, is compliant. We recognize that compliance with financial regulation is the only way to build a blockchain that the world can trust and rely on. Unlike much of the industry, we don't believe the Howey test is difficult to apply and are confident that XCH doesn't constitute a security underway. Very interesting stuff. Let's bring Cookies on. Oh, no, I didn't look at the button. Damn it. What's up, brother?
Not much. The dogs are starting to get anxious. I think they could hear you coming, so they want to be on the show, but I'm keeping them on the couch.
Let me ask first the crowd. What's the audio situation? He's coming in low for me, but I feel like it might be on my end only. Is it low for you guys? I can hear you, but it's subtle. Can you guys tell me if it's subtle?
Let me see if I can up my microphone output.
Yeah, Cookies is low, David James. David James is turning into quite a blockchain savant.
Is this any better?
It's a little low. It's going to be up to the
Dang.
crowd. Gooey's is low. Gooey's is low.
I can take the microphone off. Let me try that.
Yeah,
Make
take
it a
your time.
little
Take your
more
time for a
muted.
second so I can show him the giveaway.
You bet.
All right, give me 1 second, guys. We're doing a giveaway today, sponsored by Beppe. When I say sponsored by, I mean he sent me money so I can give it away. So that's all it is. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. Other than that, huge supporter, whale in the Beppe product, almost whale in the ticker Chia product. Let me show you guys really quick the giveaway so everyone can get involved. Thomas Beppe, I was like, hey, dude, I want to do a giveaway. Sent me the money and like spammed out the stuff before I could even like find out where it was. Hold on 1 second. Gene, goat. Gene just retweeted, goat. Goat. Absolute warrior. Hold on. Sorry. When I get excited, I turn into a doo-doo brain. Let me look here. First of all, final warning. You have to retweet this tweet, and you have to do a bicep in the chat. And trust me, I monitor my chats. I know who's up in here. Biceps in the chat, retweet the tweet. Then you will be given, well, 3 people, I think. I can't remember how he did it. Damn it, dude. Oh, here we go. In the theme of Wall Street, I just bought 1.8 million stinks on the Dexy space. We'll be giving away, and I'll be giving away more stuff as well. But this is like 1.5 million, 3 winners. You know the deal. Oh, no, you actually have to retweet this, and you have to do Thomas Beppe, and I'm going to figure it out. I haven't even read it yet, but I'm going to do it. I gave away ticker Chia yesterday, which was detrimental to my position, actually, which I didn't realize could happen in warp speed. So here we go. Let's get Cookies right back in action.
Is this
All
any
right.
better?
Nah, now it's like coming in.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me
Yeah,
pop
take
up.
your
I
time,
think
dude.
there's a Bluetooth upstairs that's like harvesting my
When your
audio.
face gets close, it sounds good.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, take your time, dude. Because we are giving away stuff, guys. And I am talking about Chia today. Chia Network. Where's Gene Hoffman? Hold on. Gene. Okay, so Gene Hoffman. I want to show you a couple of things while Cookies is away. Real quick, guys, don't believe the FUDs either. If you're like a cyberpunk dude and you actually have like crypto and you can diversify a little bit here and there, you should really just actually pay attention to what I'm saying. And if people are just spamming which candles are going up and down, they're not really getting to the point. There is a movement. It is coming. Winter is up for grabs. Real humans are going at this hard and heavy with decades of experience. People that have money, people with Bermuda capital, for example, right? And I place bets, brother. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but this is sec.gov/files/CTF memo. I'm not a lawyer, but I can read between the lines there, friends. I can read between the lines there. Okay. Oh, why don't we just read between the lines? Because we're humans and we can read. Bermuda Capital. Proposed agenda with Bermuda Capital. Guys, focus up. Please, God, focus up. When I say proposed agenda with Bermuda Capital, this is on the SEC.gov website, you a-holes. No, I'm kidding. My mom was like, please don't be a degenerate today on the stream. And I told her I would try to be. She was like, shower and look nice. And I was like, no way. Dude, what are we reading right now, Cookies? This is insane. I mean, I already read this, but this is insane, right?
Oh, yeah. Any better on my side?
Put your head close to the whatever for a minute.
Up here, is this better? I'll sit inside the laptop. This is crazy.
I know, dude.
Just a raw dog in the audio.
I can't hear. And now I can hear myself.
Okay, my whole app on here is trash. That's why.
That works now.
Dude, 1 second. This is such bad.
Yeah, take your time, dude. You're
Be
good.
better. It's so quiet on my side. I'm gonna close the whole StreamYard and come back. Something's
Yeah, stream, close everything, come back, and I'll read through this. So we're good to go. Okay. Dude, I'm going to say what's up to the chat. We're looking at Bermuda Capital, SEC.gov. If you go to SEC.gov, there is this proposed agenda with Bermuda Capital. Bermuda Capital works with XCH. All right. We're moving forward. We're understanding now, right? We've been talking about this for 3 years, right? My chat is exploding. What is going on? Oh my God, I have to go through chat real quick. The chat hasn't popped like this in so long, and I mean it pops. Don't get it twisted. It pops. Hold on, my hair. What's up, Ivan? Gimli, good to see you. GTSY. Guess what? Looks like you're in the giveaway. We're giving away stonks. DJK, always with you. Thank you. Thank you for always being with me. Mono, Lane. What's good, brother? How's everyone doing? Cookies in the house. Cookies in the house. Slim Shady in the house. Let's go. Frack. Crypto Millo, Lane. Everyone is getting out. A-Bit, what's good, brother? What is good, brother? Make YouTube chat great again. Make YouTube chat great again. GM, hexagrapher. Everybody, good to be in here. Good that you're watching this. I love that you're watching this right now. This is solid stuff, guys. We are in the peak of a financial revolution, and some people are taking control. Let's see if Cookies' audio is doing all right.
Is this all right, chat?
Yes,
I'm trying.
it is perfect.
All right.
Yes.
You'll be a little quiet on my side, but I'm willing to live with these results, man. I don't know what the heck is.
Yeah, I hope it's not my fault.
No.
Let me. Yeah. So hold on 1 second. Audio, speaker, blah blah blah. Reduce mic background noise. Adjust. Okay. Anyway, so can you give everyone a little breakdown of before we start? Because I want to just like turn my mic off, let you talk for a second. I tried to go through everyone, dude. YouTube chat's bumping right now. Like I can't even keep up with it. But can you tell everyone? Before I've known Cookies for legit 5 years as a friend in the beginning, because there's some people always offer people that are looking a hand if they're actually looking, and I was. And Cookies was always more advanced than me within the space of crypto and this kind of stuff. I'm more like, bro, he's more like in the trenches. But there's levels to everything. But anyway, he told me about Chia back then. He never told me to buy it. He told me to get involved, right? Like it was always like, get involved. Because if you get involved and it's for you, you're the right guy. So I always looked into it. I always made content when I could about it. I always enjoyed thinking about proof of work. And so I've always known Cookies. A lot of people know Cookies from like this V2, so they don't know V1. What is your purpose in crypto right now? And what do you see going on with XCH, and where are you at with things?
You bet. So my whole reason for participating in crypto is to bring about the cypherpunk revolution, to empower people and provide more equitable outcomes around the world using technology. And Chia fits the bill on that. You mentioned Bram Cohen, the inventor of BitTorrent. That's the first ever decentralized file sharing network that was also novel in the way it could fractionalize files and effectively download non-sequential chunks of files to make it more reliable in this network of providers. The mission at Chia is to produce secure scalable technologies that allow for trustless settlement of real world assets, namely, securities, American equities on chain, and the technological efficiencies that are found in like the administrative and in the stack itself just have this really compatible fit for finance. And there's the public ledger that we call the blockchain. And if you think about what a ledger is used for, it's a accounting book. And so one of the major use cases for a public blockchain is probably to be able to provide a technology solution in the accounting world. And we see that with how Chia is developing their approach with Permuto Capital. So I'm in it because I want a world that is more equitable. I want to have more empowered individuals. I don't like oligarchy. I don't like top down tyranny. I want individuals who have God given sovereignty and freedom to be able to exercise that right, because the world as I grew up in has been a difficult environment to navigate. There's not a lot of transparency, and I'm fortunate to have gotten to meet the Chia community and to learn about the more productive side of technology innovation, because you can go on the internet and you can look for what's valuable, what should I buy, what's crypto, and you're going to miss all the good stuff. It's unfortunate. Everything's kind of tuned to like send you in these rabbit holes, but that community has been the most forthcoming and transparent, and they have the tech to back it up. So that's why I enjoy the Chia community. But the technology is its own beast. It's its own reason to support the environment. You don't have to be in it for, we like the community stuff. We like memes. We like NFTs. We like having fun. But even if you weren't into those things, it has absolutely no bearing on the fundamental value of the blockchain. It's orienting itself to be a solution for real world finance and real world asset exchange.
And it's like I grew up around a lot of adults that had businesses and were like posh about stuff. And to be honest, we need a little bit more of that in crypto. And this is the first I've ever seen of somebody that has a game plan, is willing to travel, is willing to write a proposal, get with Permute. You know what I mean? These are things that have to happen if they are going to transition those dollars to here successfully. And I know more than ever now, I've been learning this, there's no chance in hell they're going to risk funneling their money onto the Ethereum blockchain.
Yep, the latest release for the meeting that took place with Chia and Permuto and the SEC outlines the technology incompatibility for the job. So in the Ethereum virtual machine, there's a bundle of things that are not compatible with the needs of finance. The first one that's listed in the article is called MEV. It used to be referred to as minor extractable value. Now it's referred to as maximal extractable value, because there's actually additional ways that people can extract value from you other than just mining. And specifically in the Ethereum virtual machine, when transactions are submitted and miners are bundling up transactions to propose blocks, the transactions come in an actual list of transactions. And so the miners can choose to reorder that list to create outcomes that create more fees for their validation. And one of the transaction order MEV strategies that you would be familiar with, and probably everyone in the chat's familiar with, are called sandwich attacks, where I want to go and buy an asset on Ethereum. I submit my transaction. Hey, I'm going to spend $100 on this meme coin. A miner or someone in the network is seeing these proposed transactions and understands that if they can get a transaction in before mine, they can elevate the price of the asset. I go to buy, I'm buying at a higher price and getting less units than I thought I was in the market for. And after I've paid that higher price, the person who front ran my order comes in and sells after me and makes profit off of my kind of victim state. There's there's
They do it on new stuff too, so they shark the whole supply even before something that could be good gets going. So like
Yeah.
I noticed this when I was studying pump fun and pump tires, and by studying I mean clicking buttons. I noticed that when you make a coin, even when you just start a coin, I want to make the coin called whatever. The first couple buys they get you too, but it sharks about 20% of the supply. So anything that even takes off and works out because of the efforts of others, like let's say I just put my heart into whatever, that somebody got 20% of the supply and disguised it as somebody buying, but really they took the opportunity away from people that would actually find it, and then they'll dump the price, obviously.
Yeah, so those are all different kinds of extraction that people, are committing, but specifically that sandwich attack one I was describing, it's one thing if you're doing that with a meme coin, but as soon as you start doing it with a security, an issued regulated security, that's securities fraud. It's considered market manipulation because it is. And so you're actually committing a federal crime. And nobody is going to take the risk of building a protocol that accidentally commits securities fraud just because it helps some retail investor buy some shares of a company. There's no benefit and there's all risk. There's also the reality that these Ethereum virtual machine smart contracts exist as their own entity. And so when you transact on Ethereum, you go from a peer with private keys to a smart contract, and from a smart contract to another individual's private keys. And people think that that's trustless in the EVM world. They'll say, no, it's totally fine to do things that way. And what they don't understand is a lot of those smart contracts are upgradable smart contracts. And anytime that you introduce a change to code, there could be an exploitation or a bug that causes users loss of funds. But then there's also the exploitable edge where I don't have to rob you and I don't have to rob the guy you're going to hand the cash to. I just have to rob the bank that you guys move your money in and out of, the smart contract that you guys are moving in and out of. And if I can exploit that smart contract, due to the account model of Ethereum, I actually gain access to 100% of the supply of that related asset. So again, never gonna happen.
On a small scale, it doesn't work. On a big scale, it doesn't work. It don't even work on a small scale. They rob you on a small scale. Imagine what they'll do on a big scale. They'll make it their whole entire life's purpose. A lot of different people will to sit there and engineer a way to trick maybe 7 people, and then maybe 700, and then maybe the whole freaking whatever guy's like, I'm going straight to Ethereum. We're gonna do it, and then or whatever.
There's so many issues. It's almost like unfortunate how easy it is to pick them apart at this point because we have the superior technology in the Chia Lisp virtual machine. And the issues of MEV, centralized smart contracts, L2s that are, for instance, the base network, which is probably the best L2 for Ethereum, it's all ordered by a single sequencer. So what that effectively means is one entity turns off access to this chain's transaction proposal landscape, and no one can do anything. All of your stuff is gone now. So
yeah, but if you draw this one line, if you draw this candle, I mean, there's a candle and then on a line, and then you get a God candle. But if you draw a line right at the bottom of a big dip, you don't understand. It really doesn't matter what kind of MEV there is. It's going straight up. It's pinning up. No, but me and Cookies make big jokes. he turned his camera off for a minute, so I'm just going to talk to the chat for 1 second. Once he turns his camera on, I'll bring him back on. And we will ask all questions to Cookies that are chill. Yeah, I want to know about the black hole question. I want Cookies to answer that one, Swizzle, so I'm going to ask him. But it was long, so we got a lot of honkers. We got a bunch of Ticker Chia fam in here. Everybody, Ticker Chia. When Ticker Chia ETF? Good question. What happens to Chia when Chia is listed on the stock market? And I asked Robinhood why I can't buy Chia on Chia with Chia. Oh yeah, David's getting absolutely nuclear on the blockchain. Super advanced, if compared to me. Fishing for shares. Absolutely good to see you. GM Tom. Tom is a goat. If you're not following Thomas Beppe, he is the founder of Beppe, one of the premier, the long-term premier #1 kind of like global asset is Beppe in the meme coin jungle. And then Chia is the absolute piston loaded leverage. But good to see everyone. Terry, all the friends. Good to see everyone. Back to the cook.
It's just gonna be hectic over here, bro. We got feeding the dogs and stuff routine is starting right now. I couldn't have picked.
Dude, you're good to go. You have no background noise at all. Dead silence.
Well, that'll probably change a few times, but it's good for now.
Yeah. So I mean, so there's people that either understood what you were talking about and kind of understand, and then there's people that are like, I have no idea. So I have questions, and again, guys, if you have, there's one question that I actually wanted to answer. It might be a joke question, but it might also not be. Any concerns that Chia Farm might create a black hole on Earth as the rate of data being stored on hard drives is growing exponentially? 1 terabyte is about.
Whistle's killing me this end, dude.
Could we have a Chia black hole?
That's actually a fair question, just because Chia does store the entire blockchain database, whereas Vitalik is trying to argue for Ethereum to purge all the historical data after 12 months. The immutable ledger's value is in the immutability and the publicity of the ledger itself, the transparency. So it's Chia has the right approach. At the end of the day, you can't escape the fact that storing data requires you to store it somewhere, but the hard drives in the world, like solid state drives, are getting so much more efficient that the ability to actually scale with the need to store is not the issue. And in fact, if you think about how well Chia really figured this stuff out, the commodity used to secure the Chia blockchain is hard drives. So if the chain is valuable because people are storing data on it, well, then the hard drives are valuable because they're securing the network. If the value of hard drives is increasing, well, then the demand side of the curve is there to develop and produce more hard drives. So it's actually the useful commodity that both secures the network and stores the network. They just don't do the same thing they don't do both of those at the same time. You're either allocating your storage to farming, or you could allocate it towards storing the blockchain. But it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other if you ascribe to the theory that more usage would make the chain more valuable. Well, if the needle moves and it's more profitable to farm Chia, then you'll plot the farms on your hard drives. If the world said, we're going to do all the farming and we're incentivizing archiving or something, then you would just use the same hard drives to archive it. But that's not how that game will go. It's just to show you that it's the same lever, no matter whether it's for the storing of the chain or running the chain. In the case of Chia, they're using the same commodity.
I had a feeling that was a super legitimate question because of the decimals on the grams weight of the terabytes.
He's trolling us, but he's good. He knows.
But I love this community, seriously. Like, for real, I have 567 live on X and 50 live on YouTube, guys. Make sure you smash the like button again. I refuse to let it go. Make YouTube chat great again. And I don't care about viewers. I care about biceps. So you do your thing. As far as this Bermuda Capital, can we talk a little bit about I actually want to make the bullish guys a little more bullish real quick. So Can you answer a few questions? How many tokens are available in total? How many tokens have been mined in XCH so far, roughly? Like of the whole
I
supply?
want to say 13 to 14 million been farmed, and then there's the 21 million pre-farm strategic reserve. So I want to say there's like a circulating supply of around 35 or 33 million. I think like 33 million. So maybe it's closer to 12 million that have been farmed.
Yeah, see,
I
I'm
could be off.
bullish. I'm bullish on that. Let's say everything dead stop now. No more. No more nothing. Like, what cryptos are you guys buying? What do we look for in crypto? Right? We're looking for an asset that doesn't inflate forever, 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 forever. Right? And there's a limited amount of tokens. Like, there's not that many XCH tokens in the world.
There's not.
There's
And
not.
it's permissionless, so all it takes is one person anywhere in the world that has more money than you and I waking up and coming to the same conclusions that you and I are coming to at whatever time they hear about it, and then there's just not that many coins, dude. They mine more, they farm more of them daily, but there's really not that many coins. Um,
And
I'm
this is
reading the
a stupid comment, but I will answer it. And it's not stupid because I probably asked the same thing at some point. So that was dumb of me to say it was stupid.
No,
Um,
it's just people need to respect themselves and respect others more. You can't get behind Chia. I don't care. It's not my job to
no,
convince
I
you.
know,
I can
I know,
say
I
the
know.
logo
But
if
you've
you're
been fighting this
go read
fight
the
for too
book.
long. Let me fight.
I know. Just go read a
You've
book.
been
Go
in the
read the
trenches for
X1.
too long because, which is true. And that's why when you give anyone attitude about anything, I'm like, he was doing the same thing 5 years ago. And some people kind of listen now. No one was listening then, but you would
Yeah.
say it with the same vigor and the
Mhm.
same, and you get tired, dude. Like people, you get tired. But the truth is, this is a block.
I just don't owe them an audience.
No,
You like pay. Hey, donate CryptoX. Donate $1,000 to Jimrat Crypto Stream right now, and I'll tell you why you should go there. Otherwise, just keep listening and then make up your own decisions. But the market doesn't care if you join or not. I've been trying to educate my community. The New York Stock Exchange doesn't care if you get it. The New York Stock Exchange doesn't care if you understand technology or economics or finance or anything. You're just going to get left behind. So if you want to, you know, turn me into your personal secretary, you're going to have to donate $1,000 to Jimrat Crypto Stream in a
no,
super chat.
and then those proceeds will go directly into a thin liquidity pool on ticker Chia.
You bet, dude. You bet.
Which will bang everything another zero.
But
No,
here's why. If I want to just give the same speech over and over and over
yeah,
again,
do
here's
it.
why you should be into the blockchain Chia. It is a novel Nakamoto consensus that is able to secure real-world assets in a Turing-complete programming environment that uses non-custodial and trustless offer files to execute atomic exchange. That all those words meant what you thought Bitcoin. You wouldn't have thought this based on your question, but what people thought Bitcoin was going to be is what Chia is, and it's because they stand on the shoulders of giants. They got to learn from Bitcoin and from Ethereum. So you're getting a world that can actually do smart programming environments, but still maintain peer-to-peer authenticity and atomic swaps. So it's more energy efficient. It's more decentralized than Bitcoin. It has the highest Nakamoto coefficient of any blockchain. That's going to skyrocket with the new plot filters that are rolling out. But like, just okay, here's why. Here's why you want to be involved in Chia. By this summer, Permuto Capital is going to be approved by the SEC to issue securities on chain. These securities are called trust units. They are comprised of asset certificates and dividend certificates. These are two new investment vehicles that have never existed in the past. This blockchain investment vehicle. The way that these are made are that people take stocks from real American equities. The first three are going to be Microsoft, Apple, and Broadcom. And they take stock and they deposit their shares at the Permuto Capital Trust. Permuto issues them an asset certificate and a dividend certificate for every single share that they deposit. What that means is the dividend certificate is this asset which is only comprised of the cash flows that the business is going to pay to shareholders every quarter in the form of dividends. The asset certificate is everything else: your voting rights, your capital appreciation of the company, the growth oriented aspects of the investment. When these are on Chia, it allows individuals to buy access to just the cash flows of a company and or just the capital appreciation and underlying risk of the company. The you don't have to understand any of that. Here's why it's valuable. Microsoft last quarter paid $6.9 billion cash in dividends. That's more than all the money that's ever been paid out in a stablecoin transaction on any blockchain. The market cap of the smallest company of those three I mentioned is larger than the total market cap of all of the stablecoins on all of the blockchains. The value of a blockchain is in the ability to secure the network, and that network, in Chia's case, is comprised of other investors' money, and it's institutional level finance. So if you want a blockchain that's worth money, then you want the blockchain that secures everyone else's money. And that's what Chia and Permuto Capital do. So you don't have to get it, but the Microsoft shareholders and the Apple cash flow fanboys don't.
That was the sickest clip ever, dude. He just lagged out for some reason. I think his battery might have gone. But after that, I'll wait for his battery to come back on or whatever. Take your time, Gooey, if you can hear me. Was that sick? Was that the best clip ever? I'm going to spam that clip on YouTube. Biceps in the chat for Gooey going absolutely ham right there. We're going to read through a little something here. That was a lot of gigawatts of mental energy. That was great stuff. That was incredible. Dude, we heard every word of that rant, and the second the rant was over,
Laptop died.
But it was perfect, dude. It was the most perfect mic drop of all history.
It's crazy. It's like, dude, no one owes you an audience. Go read the S1. Go learn finance. Like, I'm not here to shill Chia to anybody. I'm literally out here just letting you know that the future of finance is coming, and one globally traded market is going to be on your doorstep. If you miss the boat, that's a personal choice, but the company has been extremely public about it. The Crypto White House Task Force has them on the task force. They're in the SEC roundtables for crypto. It's like, at some point, you just have to decide that you don't want to learn. That's why you're asking the question that way. You're not actually interested. You're just coping. So,
yeah, well, you can cope harder later in the chat. You can switch your name to something else, and then we can chat later. I won't remember. But no, I'm kidding. I'm joking, guys. Again, this is all about learning, and I've been down the ringer in this shit, dude. I promise you, bro. I promise you, bro. I've made all the right moves. I've made some great moves too, to be honest. But I am going to read this. So this is Permuto Capital, Chia. We're gonna put some things together real quick. This is just from the SEC.gov website. Very critical. If you want to be involved in the giveaway, you must go and retweet all these tweets. No, retweet. Oh, shit. I don't know exactly what you're supposed to do, but Tom knows exactly what you're supposed to do. So on Tom's tweet, which I am going to switch over to back to this because I see cookies. Cookies. So this document came out yesterday or whenever. The Permuto Capital.
yes, the one that no one reads because it involves reading. Yes.
Yeah, right, exactly. But the proposed agenda, right? Like, and it's short to the point. You know what I'm saying? When it's talking about tokenization of trust units, asset certificates and dividend certificates, unified markets and trading, problems with trading securities on most blockchains. And this, I don't believe we're going to get through to anyone about why Chia will work, because it probably takes a little bit of more just paying attention. But I think a lot of people are open to this idea that MEV is not going to work.
Again, it doesn't matter who's thinks that they're right. Doesn't matter who feels like their thesis is right. The New
Yeah.
York Stock Exchange has partnered with Permuto Capital. There are multiple amendments into this S1 being public. It's being approved. It's going to be approved no later than this summer, if any historical context applies. And then the first on-chain dividend is going to be paid by Q4 this year. So it doesn't matter if anyone else has a different thesis. That's fine. But just go show me the S1 where you're registering to issue securities to US investors. There's one blockchain that has that filing. You got to come up with a really compelling argument for why I would care about the other ones. And you probably don't know the technology well enough to argue against Chia's high ground. So it's just everyone is sold on ideas until their mind is changed. So you follow ideas, Bitcoin and then Ethereum. So therefore that'll just always be the truth because I'm on to learning about Solana and I'm on to learning about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. You're just aggregating useless information. The powerful information is to follow the cypherpunks. If you're in blockchain and cryptocurrency, follow the original cypherpunks from the cypherpunk mailing list and listen to them discuss the industry and listen to them discuss the needs for the technology and the uses for the technology. And guess what? They know it better. So you start there and then you don't have to worry. The other stuff is just other stuff. I don't think Ethereum turns off when Chia starts trading stocks. It's just a way different database. It's not the one market secure chain, it's just some other database.
And that's how I'm starting to feel about my. And I always, when Cookies always brings it scale top to when he's talking about it, and I always bring it right back to rat mode, like because it's similar. Like the way I feel about my Chia bags because it's on a separate server, because it has a separate client wallet that I actually like using. It makes me feel like that's where my actual money is. In my casino, it makes me feel like I have like a little Hard Rock casino in my hand. And that is when I am on Ethereum. I'm trying to get gains. I'm trying to see if I can really take someone else's money is really all I'm trying to do. And that's the truth. That's human nature. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, look, you didn't know there was an alternative, and it technically doesn't exist yet. But when you listen to Gene, you know the old investing adage. It's kind of like the poker adage of if you don't know who the fish at the table is, you're the fish. Well, in investing, if you don't know where the yield comes from, you're the yield, right? Gene is openly admitting that he is someone who likes the cash flows and the appreciation of Microsoft and Apple. He's specifically probably more Apple. So when he talks about it, he's letting you know I'm the yield. Gene's the yield. These other people who are big time believers in Apple's product and technology, they're the yield because they're going to take shares to Permuto Capital and get a capital efficiency, savings, and higher returns that they don't get in the traditional market. Well, when they do that, it involves putting their assets on the Chia blockchain to be secured. And that is a value benefit to the Chia blockchain. So the yield is coming from quite literally the only place it could ever have come from, which is productive capital.
Right. And then, okay, so I'm going to go down the rabbit hole just a little bit more. So because people that know me think it's so weird that I'm spamming Chia meme charts, but I want to tell you right now why it's not weird at all. Okay. Because it is the safest possible place that a lot of these people could go. And I'm not talking about the price chart, although they always go up in the market cap is so low is what I'm trying to say. Like we're having fun. These coins are new. Memes are a part of the world and they're a part of crypto and they only ignite things. But if you can ignite good things, it's super cool on a separate network. But I know 100,000 people haven't funneled in yet. I already know this before I tweet it because I can just look.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the data is real and you can go look on chain. And there are not hundreds of thousands of holders of any of the assets on Chia, even though there are more full nodes than there are over on Ethereum. And what that kind of gets back to is, in Ethereum with mining pools and in Bitcoin with mining pools, you're consolidating the responsibility of signing blocks down to a very, very, very small group of people. In Chia, every single block is signed by the individual farmer. Even if you're farming in a pool, Chia has written specifically in these pooling singletons that the farmer, the individual node, signs the block. The pool does not. The reason that that kind of is a big deal is if there's only 3 people that make blocks, enough. Sorry. If there's only 3 people that make blocks, these pools, then every time a block comes up, there's kind of a 1 in 3 chance that I know who's going to sign it. And if that were the case, then you can start to censor other transactions and create other types of MEV. In Chia, it's entirely not possible to do that for the infrastructural reasons. And when you're talking about these meme coins and stuff, one, most of these people don't know how to even buy Chia. You can go to crypto.com and buy XCH. You can go to Base Network and swap anything. You can go to 9x.9mm.pro. It's an aggregator that'll just get you the best price between like Aerodrome and other dexes. So if that's, and then you can go to warp.green and you can take assets from Base or ETH and then bridge them into Chia for a small developer fee. So they just don't know how to get involved. But the other thing that they don't realize, because all they've ever done is follow the influence of people that were looking to harm them, they're familiar with market caps that are like 20 million, 30 million, 100 million. Trump coin goes to 50 billion and now it consolidates at 2 billion. They think that these numbers are somehow justifiable. They don't understand that it's entirely vapor. It's actually an adversarial strategy where people are looking to turn you into exit liquidity by manipulating the price action of thin liquidity pools to bait you into bad financial decisions. They're overwhelmingly using botnets to try to stimulate activity on the timeline, and they fool a lot of people into thinking that they're engaging with something worthwhile. Over on Chia, the fundamental community understands the fundamental value of the chain. So when they think Chia, they want to buy XCH. They have no interest in throwing their Bitcoin away for runes. They kind of would rather have Bitcoin at $12 than buying runes at $100,000 Bitcoin. So in Chia, it's way less often that you hear people tuned toward, well, let's go throw it on the meme coins. There's a ton of NFT support. They support individuals, creators, and they're not anti-memes by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that the fundamentals are so strong, there's not nearly the excuse to be throwing away. Here's the thesis, right? If your layer 1 coin is so valuable, why do you keep throwing it away for this other made-up thing? You know? Well, in Chia, you just happen to be so early. The prices just happen to be where they are, and the number of holders are so few that you are cooking a recipe that's more likely to have a chance at going from a really, really low number to some slightly higher number. I mean, none of those meme coins on Chia trade for $10 million market cap.
No, they trade for the market cap they're supposed to.
Yeah.
For the, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like the market cap of what this thing should supposed to be when you look on XCH.trade. You're like, oh, 20, maybe, 10,000 XCH behind it and 10,000, whatever that amount is on the other side. What a healthy thing for actual people are there, right? And like, I don't care what coin you're looking at. Basically, Pulse Chain's turning into Solana because it's just a bunch of bots now.
I wish it would turn into Solana so I could actually see the chart go up once in my entire life, but unfortunately, it can't even do that.
It's been down. It's been down only. Like,
you got to remember, Hex came out in 2019. It's down 99.5%. The founder tried to say it's dead on an immutable ledger. It's not looking so hot for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th coin that he minted. So that just is what it is. But someone asked if I like Emperor Seal's aggregator. It's fine. It's an on-chain aggregator, so it's slightly different than a aggregator that's using off-chain calculations. But I like Emperor Seal as a developer, and it's fine.
I want to send these. So we went through really the nuts and bolts of it quick. I mean, there's some clips in there that are Gooey can't even remember what he said. I can remember. Those clips are sick. 2, I want to talk about a couple of things. So I keep talking and mentioning the safe space, and like Gooey's interaction with people in mind is so different. I have a lot of like 19 to 25-year-olds that'll like find my IG and stuff and like give me an actual question about like, hey, should I buy this? Or like, but they're so young, right? So I'm always like hedging them on like learn, right? Yep. But the Tang gang, like if you want real world one, assistance with real, like assistant. By assistance, I mean like people that will, there's a million people in there that will help you at any time. All the stuff that he mentioned about how to buy 9mm, they do giveaways every single day. Giveaways, I can't keep up with the giveaways. They're insanity. All these coins, they have 5 or 6 NFT giveaways. You can make your own NFT. My friend Lane, younger guy, just did one. Didn't seem hard for him. He's a young kid. He made an NFT collection, gave it away.
I saw it.
Yeah, so like this is an interactive space with this low barrier to entry as far as like, yes, if you were smart, you would cut your foot off and sell it to Michael Saylor and buy the XCH or whatever. But the truth is, I want to empower young people in the future, whether I ever talk to them again or not. And I hope that I'm empowered in the future. Like,
let me put it this way. The young men that watch your show, if they go through life, they get an education, they get a job, maybe, you know, in tech or they're doing something where they have the kind of money to be investing, and so they go and they get a financial advisor. The young man that sits across the table from them who chose the finance path is going to be dealing with the Chia blockchain and with one market and on-chain equities and dividends and mutual funds. And so you don't have to get it, but the guy that you pay to help you figure out how to retire, he will have to know it. He'll have to learn it. So you
and
could
he'll be
just
like, dude, how'd you get these
front run
whale
it.
elephant bags? He'll be like, where'd you get these whale elephant god bags? And I'll be like, dude, it was like $100 back then, bro.
Yep. That's where people, we think ourselves too big. We think ourselves so important. We think that we're player one. So people go, well, I'm not interested. Hey, guess what, dude? The ocean doesn't care. The rain doesn't care. You're just this one thing. Okay. The jungle is very large. It's not a personal path to glory for the individual. It's just what's happening in the world around you. You can take advantage of it or not. But we think, based on things that we've seen, people think that they see a lot of money. They look at the number 2 holder of Ethereum on the strategic Ethereum reserve, and they think that's a ton of money. It doesn't even begin to sniff 1/4 of dividend payments from Microsoft. Not even close. That's just one of the 3 companies. There's going to be 80 or more companies by the end of this year that are paying dividends on the Chia blockchain. These people think that ETH is like a large. ETH isn't even Silver's market cap. So there are these blockchains which have gone from being worth nothing to being worth a couple $1 billion, or in Bitcoin's case, $1 trillion. But gold's 22 trillion. Microsoft is 3.3 trillion. Microsoft is 3 times Bitcoin. And they pay cash. They don't pay coins that you turn into cash. They pay you cash. So the money that we have in our minds, because we're all relatively not billionaires, trillionaires, quadrillionaires, we go, $1 billion is the most amount of money on the planet. $1 billion is one fraction of one company's 1/4's dividend payment out here. You're talking about trillions of dollars. You're talking about international remittance. You're talking about companies that are multinational and are doing billions of dollars of revenue, and it's just a totally different world. And so what we screw up is that we're so close to the car crash that we think that we're able to like diagnose how it happened. But it's just not the case. It'll take another 50 years for the next Benjamin Graham to write the book on fundamental AC/DC trust unit investment, but it'll be the same wisdom that Benjamin Graham wrote way back when he wrote The Intelligent Investor. It's the same reality, but now the tools are slightly different. So just go look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average from 110 years ago, and then go look at the price of it today. Because the Dow Jones Industrial Average is just an index. It just tracks these companies which fit the criteria to be within the index and the market capitalization of them. Well, Chia is going to be securing multiple equities, and those equities formerly could be found in like the NASDAQ. So go look at the NASDAQ and then see where it's gone since it started. And you'll begin to realize Chia is securing assets which appreciate over time. They're productive assets, they're profitable companies. that's a pretty solid use case for a magic vault that can't be broken into by robbers in the night. Might be a pretty valuable security solution, if it is the case that these companies are going to trade their equities on it, which they are. So
Yeah, I mean, that's insane, right? The fact that we've gotten all the way to this point and I got to skip a good amount of it just because I was doing something else is super chill for me.
we're super lucky, man.
Yeah, no, I was. And I tell people that. I said I got in at $11 with one buy, and I've been playing around ever since. So I've been having more. But the point is, I didn't have to go through the hardship that the guys did. And I say hardship, yeah, a lot of people made a lot of money on mining, I'm sure, individually. But the hardships of the community that knew this was going to happen, they didn't know if it was going to happen in 8 months or 5 years, right? So
Right.
the 3-year mark, the 4-year mark, the grinders are still here. But the fact that you can learn Chia Lisp and like get involved in like there's opportunity there too. Like
Tons.
I don't know
Tons.
anything
Look
about
at
Chia Lisp, but I know it's a different language and that Chia is going to explode. And if you're a young entrepreneur that is just an absolute wizard with coding or whatever, I think that would be a good hobby for you to be barking up ASAP.
And there will also come improvements where like language compatibility and compiling is possible, to the point where you could be writing in one code base and have it execute down to the Lisp necessary and still be functional, but that'll be later iterations of the technology. But as far as kind of the timing of it is super fortunate. There is this alternative reality that exists in roughly 2023 where if Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX don't literally nuke the planet with the largest financial fraud in the history of Earth, then maybe Chia goes public before 2025. And in that reality, maybe we aren't buying this low right now. I don't know. But then on the other side of things, where it turns out, yeah, he blows it up, all these investors lose their confidence, etc. Well, now we get the benefit of if you're paying attention and you're actually reading the data, not the price candles. Well, the prices have never really been cheaper, and the fundamentals have never made more sense. So that's kind of a fun place to be.
I like buying bottoms. Like I know people love buying tops, and I know mining is different. But just I like cookies down for a minute, just so we have some receipts, guys. This is my OG Chia client right here. You'll see. Let me show you the date. It says January 28th, 2023. I asked somebody for XCH on January 28th, 2023, so I could trade these NFTs with my bros. So that was in 2023. As you can see, things are only getting better in my collection. I have many, 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 many more. And guess what? I had 3 NFTs on, and they were all given to me on Ethereum. And I have bought, none of these I bought, but on my other accounts, I have bought hella NFTs, and I don't give a rat's crap what anyone has to say about it. These things are great, and I've been having such a fun time on a secure network. 2023, January 28th. Because everyone's like, Jim Rat, don't jump on the Chia train. And I was like, whoops, I've been dragging on the back of that thing for a while. And I was lucky enough not to buy because guess what? I didn't feel like I knew enough at the time personally. That was the only reason, though. It could have gone to the moon. I just got lucky on that. Maybe I shouldn't show everyone my Chia client or whatever, but like whatever. Here, let's add cookies back to the stage.
It's funny that you say that. Pretty soon here, you're going to see Gene Hoffman's private mnemonic on the public timeline because Chia is going to be showing off their custody solutions where you can have his seed phrase and you're still not going to get any coins. So that's one of the situations where you see the sweep exploit, no one's getting their coins back. You see these, who was it? It wasn't Bitfinex. It was one of the other one, Bybit maybe. They had a socially engineered exploit. There's no clawback feature. So these guys have been losing billions of dollars to different hacking groups and exploiters year after year after year. And not a single one of them has built a security or custody solution that mitigates those risks. Don't you think that if you were the future of finance, one of the inventions you would have come up with would be like a bank vault that people can't just come and take everyone's money out of. So it's peculiar that they don't prioritize security or custody when the value of the blockchain is in the finances it secures.
They just couldn't resist the extraction, bro. These guys can't resist extraction because
Many such cases.
Cookies always says this, and it's like go to the casino table and move all the money around, right, into a circle and then put it all right back, right? Except the smart guys that have been sitting there for a couple years that can anticipate things like that happening. They just happen to go get a Coca-Cola right out, like in the middle of it, take their chips and go home because they know this is all EVM is built for manipulation. And understand that I learned manipulation on blockchain from this. I thought that was just the way things were. I thought humans are going to take over the blockchain and just normal manipulative humans that are good at tech are going to take over. And the truth of the matter is there has to be more structure than that.
Yeah, what I explain, when you really spend more time studying and listening to these trailblazers and hearing their paths and their explanations of why they choose what they choose to go through, I explain it sort of like in the Matrix. Neo sits in a chair and they put a disc in a computer and he learns kung fu or he learns jujitsu, and he comes out of the training simulation about a couple. In real time, it looks like a couple seconds, but in simulated time, it was probably 10,000 hours. And he looks at Morpheus and he goes, "I know kung fu." These guys, the Bram Cohens of the world, the Gene Hoffmans of the world, the Dr. Nicks of the world, these guys are so good at kung fu that there's not a punch you can throw that threatens. It doesn't hit. They're stopping the ability for you to exploit before you have the potential to exploit. So there's not like a hidden spinning kick that you know about that you learned in the dark arts dojo that they're not already mitigating. They don't even have to move their hand to block it. You'll simply hit this, invisible wall that you can't go through. And that's because they're superior cryptologists. They are better at cryptography, and they understand logic, and they understand the order of operations, and they understand the modularity of the code, and they don't put themselves in a situation where you can threaten them. If that were the case, it wouldn't be a very valuable place for them because they're trying to build the most impenetrable, most secure, most decentralized platform.
And that's what you would do if you were like trying to do something, right? Like if you were trying, hold on one second. If you were trying to do the right thing, like that's every time I get a phone call, I'm 2 buttons away from giving someone my debit card number. Like that, every single thing in life is literally, they went full on hyperbolic extraction all the way around every industry. Get what you can now because no one knows what's going to happen in the future. Except for the dudes that just know what's going to happen in the future, kind of.
Well, some people are building the future. So
Right.
It seems like they kind of have an inside track on what it might look like,
And I want to talk to you about you now. We talked about Chia this whole entire time, right? For the most part, we had a little fun with the memes, the craziness of the chat, guys. You can still go to my Twitter and you can retweet the tweets that Beppe said to do, drop biceps in, and you can still go. But I want to switch over real quick. I have to remove this. Oh, no, that's my full browser. Not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that. I learned that. Microsoft Edge. All right. So my experience so far with the Tang game before I let cookies go has been nothing but exceptional. And I'm not fully integrated. I'm like 41% integrated. So basically, the Tang gang has brought me from stepping back onto my computer, checking out what my bros were doing, and then everyone started saying, I said, where's the alpha? Like, well, come on, guys. Where is the chat room where people are actually chatting about things? They all spam the Tang gang. So then I went on my adventure. Joining the Tang gang is also an adventure, and they do this on purpose. This is a walled garden here. This is not a republic. This is a movement. I don't know what I just said, but I came in, you have to get a Tang Gang Bear NFT, which allows you to get into the Discord. There are a couple more steps, and I'll let cookies go into it. But if this Tang Gang NFT costs money, which I'm not 100% sure how much it costs, I will give every single person who joins the Tang Gang a Tang Gang Bear NFT that joins the Tang Gang from here limit to like over. If this is going into the $300 or $400 range, I'll probably stop it there.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, whatever it is.
That's our value.
Well, all I'm saying is,
not
if
like the
someone
price
needs a
tag.
tang bear, I will make that happen. Whether I have to beg cookies, buy one for you, this person. I owe someone a tang bear actually, and I forgot to send one
Sure.
back.
No,
I
it's
want. Tell me now. It's your turn.
You
What's up
bet.
with the Tang Gang? What are you guys up to? Give us what's good right now with you, and I'll click around to whatever you want at any time.
You bet. So first of all, Orange is in the chat. Tangang is a multi-billion-dollar decentralized autonomous marketing agency. We empower artists, developers, and creatives by elevating the platform of objectively dank works, which are given to the Tangang as contribution for our vetting to see, get our hands on a thing. Okay, it's real. You know, we get to meet you. Okay, you're real. And then we utilize memes and creative marketing to elevate the platform of these other individuals who are leaning into the Tangang. By doing that, we're able to generate a greater level of awareness and engagement than the individuals themselves. And if you think about it, if you're a master crafts person, you might not also be a marketing agent. And so you might put 10,000 hours into working really hard on your craft, and you could be the best in the world at it, and then still maybe struggle to break through the infinite content of the internet to try to get some of the validation and support that your talent merits. The Tangang helps shake that formula up by kind of breaking through echo chambers with real humans. We're not using bots. We hate using bots. It's something that we detect immediately because we're a group of real people. There's over 400 registered Tang Bears in the Discord in a DID on Chia, which means these are verifiable humans that are in our Discord chat. They're not some stand-in bot. When you go through the Tangang onboarding process, you join a community of chain agnostic individuals who happen to know that Chia is the future of finance and one market TM is going to be a big deal. So we already have roots planted on Chia. But for example, of the decentralized nature, a lot of our community does come from Pulse Chain. Tom Beppe, who's one of the absolute generals of the Tangang, he actually started on Solana, and we have tons of people that come from Ethereum, and it's no worries if you have a preferred chain or preferred coin. The Tangang isn't an investment, it is a movement, and we are willing to be diversified, we're willing to be open minded. There's a singular effort to do the best we can to raise awareness of worthwhile platforms. So that's why you will see Gene Hoffman, CEO of Chia Network and co CEO of Permuto Capital, is a registered user in the Tangang Discord. We aren't out here to sell people, technical analysis courses. We're not out here to try and convince people that we have like this magic algorithm that's going to make them money. We just show up, we study, we share information with each other, we bring it back to the group and we share information. We have fun, we do meme championship contests and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's a group of people that are sharing a vision of productive growth. And when you surround yourself with problem solvers and people who are wanting to grow, you're able to come up with all sorts of really cool and creative reasons to want to keep hanging out and keep busting your butt. And so we build protocols, we build competitions, we build experiences that no one else on the internet will. And it comes from a place of love and abundance where each and every person within the decentralized and autonomous marketing agency is entirely responsible for if they want to show up, if they want to contribute, what do you want to contribute? What does that mean for you? It doesn't supersede anybody's individual sovereignty. It is simply an additional layer of social affiliation that you can opt in and opt out of as you please. There's no contracts, there's no affiliate deal, there's no requirements. We don't take attendance, you know. It's on your time, but the group is going to continue moving forward. So most people kind of see the value in keeping up and trying to stay on the bleeding edge of the information that's being circulated within the community.
Perfect. So now I can say my now that you said all that, it made me think of some stuff. So like normie chill new bros. I want you guys to join the Tang Gang. And this is not a show. No one has ever paid. If you guys don't have ever read my bio, like me and Cookies have been doing really similar, not what we're doing is separately, completely different, but you mentioned like the essence of it, right? Like the essence of what I've always done. And this is not because I'm a good dude. Everyone forget that crap. Or everyone's telling you they're the best dude known to man. Some people are ethical. Like I would like to consider myself ethical. Like I don't want to see anybody hurt. And if I have to be on the other end of it, I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
Probably. Right. But if you look here, and this is what I've always, 6 years in crypto, and that, Richard Hart actually kind of made me want to do this back in the day. And then I realized that he was kind of bluffing, but I feel like this is the better way to go as far as like 6 years in crypto. That's not forever either, guys. That's just 6 years, right? Like no paid promotions, no trading links, no coin launch, no paid group. I'm trying to show you something by saying that. It's not because I don't want money. Yes, give me all your money, please. I would love that. I'll buy a house or something and have a beautiful yard, another whatever. That's not the point as much as I think this stuff is going to work out for me in the future anyway. So that's like my essence is kind of just like, if you're into this, please watch me and let's make this a value transfer where I do a lot of fun stuff on the internet and learn, and then you can watch. And guess what makes that so much easier for me? Because I just have an aggregator to a perma community that's of real people, which there's about 4 real communities in crypto anymore.
Right.
And so this is a place where you can learn about crypto. You can learn about security. But I need you to join the Tang Gang. If you're a Discord user, now I'm the worst Discord user, but I am in the Tang Gang.
I suck at Discord, dude. But I'm in, dude. Trust me, I drug myself through it. It wasn't that hard. I'm just not super naturally intuitive about Discord. But I've been in that from at least the first week that it was around, maybe even the first day. And it is probably the lowest risk or exposure or entry requirement for the most amount of never-ending benefits that I could have ever signed up for. I mean, if Starbucks or Taco Bell ever starts doing the Tom Beppe formula, I'm going to balloon to 500 pounds and never sleep again. So it's
Dude,
just
Tom Beppe's formula is sickening. And I don't even know what the formula is.
Masterclass in community engagement and incentivization. We're in the Tang Gang, we're very big on aligning incentives. We want everyone to be able to face the same way and row. And it doesn't matter if you're quote unquote in the front or in the back or off to the side. We just want this thing to be going the same direction and benefiting the people who choose that alignment. So that's why we use phrases like lean in. It means you're going to have to put yourself out there, put yourself forward. No one's going to come and grab you out of bed and register you in the Tang Gang. But if you're willing to lean in and participate and talk with people and learn, make some memes, show up and do a couple events, whatever it is, the Tang Gang leans back. And you know that firsthand. You can see the oranges in the chat and stuff like that.
Oh, dude, the Tang Gang has made my experience for streaming alone. And trust me, I still had people talking, but like I was telling everyone I'm looking to lean in. I think I was literally saying that to people. I was like, hey, I'm looking to lean into something, but I can't find anything to lean into. Yep. While I was simultaneously talking with the Tang Gang and trying to figure out what was going on. Then I figured out what was going on, and I was like, this is just the natural evolution of me. This is the kind of stuff that I would do on my own. I would lean in here. If you're an artist, are you kidding me? Are you an artist? Like if you are an artist, like if you do art online, whatever, all the millions of people that do videography, poems, music, memeology, you can be on the front page of this. I'm sure if you work, get in the Tang Gang, show people your stuff. Show people, drop some links, throw a couple free bangers around to people, do what you got to do. And then you have a community where you can ask, hey, go talk to the Chia monks, dude, and say, dude, how did you make that kind of art when I want my art to look like this or that? yada yada yada. I know there's artists, dude.
Yep.
There's
We are comprised of artists, developers, memers, and a couple savages. But there's no limit to the scalability. The content that's produced from this group of people has already exceeded my limited human ability to like maintain scope of everything. There's so many opportunities. You kind of have to just start picking the ones you love the most, because there will never be an end to how many things you can engage in. But this isn't some frivolous, oh, a new meme coin has been made today. It's much more the same motion, the same movement, the same morals all the time. And if someone comes up with a project that they want to push forward, they now see how multiple people have achieved success, and they can kind of copy those formulas if they want. But ultimately, no one in the Tang Gang is chasing you down to try to take your money. We know that the stock market and the Federal Reserve and the central banks are going to be our exit liquidity. We don't need a cup of coffee from you or a pizza from you. We're not stealing your hamburgers in the LP. That is peanuts. We couldn't care less about that size. We're hunting Jupiter moon whales. We want $1 trillion market caps on Chia. We want to have $1,000,000,000 derivative markets trading globally using the Chia blockchain for settlement. These are the kinds of things where we've just simply removed ourselves from the barbaric back and forth of nitwits who want to discuss the pumpamentals of anything. The pumpamentals of the market are that people solve problems for other people. Needs and wants are the names that we give these problems, and some people supply solutions to the marketplace, and people are willing to hand over cash to get those problems solved. So if you want to know why the Dow Jones Industrial Average goes up other than inflation, it's because someone had a problem and someone solved it. The reality is no different for the Tangang success. We are problem solvers. We solve a lot of people's problems when it comes to marketing, education, and socialization. There are people that are looking for the community, but they only find the KOL with the subscription and the Killbox Discord where they get farmed in for tickers. That is not what happens in the Tang Gang. Overwhelmingly, we couldn't care less. Your size is not size is a phrase that we use. It's not pejorative, it's relative. There are $1 trillion companies whose investors are going to seek capital efficiencies, savings, security improvements, and better ROI. Well, that's going to benefit the people who are positioned correctly. So I don't need to go knock on my neighbor's door and sell him $30 of Bepe. I don't need to. There's no need to convince anybody. The old Satoshi quote of if you don't understand it or get it by now, I don't have time to explain it to you. It's not that we don't have time to explain it to you. We're just going to spend our time doing what we already do, which is a lot of fun and it supports a lot of people. And then just by comparison, go ahead and watch the other communities or the other opportunities or the other brands. And in fact, maybe go buy their stuff if that's what it's going to take for you to realize the opportunity you missed with the Tang Gang.
That's what I do too. Like I always tell people negligible amount of money, and I've stuck to that so hard. Like I'll send 0.3 ETH at a time, stuff like that, just maxed out. Like that's for me to get involved slowly. Are people crazy? Do they like? You don't have to dump 32 ETH into stuff either. Like you're not gonna. Well, there is gonna be a God candle, so.
That's true.
Yeah, there is. Now that I say that out loud, my brain was like, hold on, don't say that.
You're underexposed.
You're underexposed, of course, but you're likely underexposed to everything. So let's move you in the right direction with some of your capital as a learning experiment. And this does not pump my bags, bro, at all. You should know that by now. Chia is not a little funnel with a narrow liquidity pool that one person can pump. It was distributed slowly over years to people that don't, well, the miners want to be profitable, of course, but people like me, I'm not selling. I don't care if it goes to $5. I don't care if it goes to 500. I'm putting in, I believe in Chia long term. I believe that XCH could change the financial future of my life. I don't know when that is. I don't really care, because I'm investing in it. It's an investment for me. And $1,000.
Well, let me give you some reasons to care. I know my camera's not on. I'm moving around, grabbing a phone charger for us.
Perfect. Give me some damn reasons. I love it.
Here's reasons to care. Word on the street is Dunktober. And what that is used for, it kind of sounds like October. The reason that we're saying Dunktober, Gene was just in an interview where he said, we believe Chia Network will be a profitable company this year. Okay, well, it's 2025 and it's almost June. So that's 6 months or less, 7 months or less of a year. They're expecting approval, imminent approval from the SEC for the new securities that they'll issue on chain. That's probably this summer. So sometime between this summer and October, a multi-trillion-dollar American equity market cap will have some non-zero proportion of its dividend cash flows issued automatically on the Chia blockchain. That's not 52 weeks to shake out the weak hands. That's not 4-year cycle. That's not new blood moon harvest astrology. It's late May 2025 right now. Soon it will be June, July, August, September, October. So you don't have time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I've always been super cautious because I had to go through the traumatic experience that was Hex Crypto.
Do you want to know why people are so bad at figuring out what the price of a cryptocurrency is going to go to and why they're always guessing too high?
Because someone's always scamming them.
Because they have no idea how finance works. They actually don't know how to calculate the value of a company or its shares or its dividends. And it gets even harder when you're talking about things that don't have fundamentals. It's kind of easy. You just say the value is zero. But the people are being fed social engineering tricks like TA triangles and narratives about the altcoin rotations and just whatever narrative of the day is being cooked. Wall Street invests in cash flows. It's very simple. Does the company make money? If yes, that's revenue. Does any of the revenue after expenses still make its way to shareholders? Because then we're talking about equity. And when we have free cash flows, we have measurable evidence that this company is moving in the right direction. So Wall Street's not investing in Chia because, one, it's not public and they don't have a way to invest. The seed rounds of venture capitalism didn't afford anybody any coins. It's a different agreement where when Chia goes public, there will be consideration of stock allocation to those investors. But as far as the rest of the XCH and the blockchain consideration, when they turn the Bermuda Capital Trusts on, as soon as anyone deposits a single share, Chia is charging an administrative fee. That's a service. Bermuda Capital is doing you a service to issue these ACDCs. And so that's material revenue. Now, material revenue and margin are different. I'll tell you this. The cost basis of operations and staffing and all considerations otherwise for Chia Network Incorporated don't exceed the cash flows of Microsoft quarter to quarter. So it's there's a really, 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 really big bag of money trying to get its way onto the Chia blockchain. And Wall Street just doesn't have that priced in because there is no measurable cash flow until it's approved, until it's operational, until there are service fees and there are dividends issued. Wall Street has no interest in they don't need to be early. Wall Street is the rails of finance. They'll
They don't
scale
want
in
to be
millions.
early. Yeah, they don't want to be early when the
There's no added benefit to them taking outsized risks.
But there's 100x benefit to your little nerd, not you, viewer,
Right.
me, and you, whoever's watching. There is a big benefit for your little nerdy butt who can hardly afford anything, even though you probably make $175,000 a year. You're probably an absolute tank. And then you're You're like,
Imagine that we
how
were
would I end
sitting
up
at the
getting
bar.
another house? To that guy,
Dude, imagine you're sitting at the bar and you and I are watching the basketball game and we're just messing around. We got nothing going on. We're just having a couple beers, hanging out. And then these guys in suits next to us are talking about how stressful it is to work for Fidelity. And they're going, "Well, you thought last year was rough, dude. We got to go through. You thought the Trump stuff was rough. We got to learn all this blockchain stuff to tell our clients about asset certificates and dividend certificates and all of this technology." And you're sitting there at the bar and you're going Chia, and you look it up and you see the price go straight down from like $1,000 to $12. You tap the guy on the shoulder and you go, "Why are you guys talking about this thing that goes down 99%?" They would say, "Oh, well, in a couple months it's going to be a lot more relevant than it is right now." And you could take that information before they're able to get their institutional exposure, and you could just go slap it on crypto.com and get some XCH. That's a crazy dude. The level of transparency is why I get so frustrated when people try to turn me into a secretary to like teach them things. I learned it from the public timeline. Gene isn't hiding it. Bram's not hiding it. Thomas Chow's not hiding. The S1 is a publicly filed document with the SEC. None of this stuff is hiding. People are just getting in their own way, and so it's difficult to see it.
and they're like, well, I don't have to buy until it hits $20 anyway, because if it goes up quick, it's like God candles don't always look the same.
Again, go look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Ask yourself, would you rather buy today's price of the index or 1942's price?
Exactly. And just like Cookie said, they're like begging to get in, because I say begging to get in, they're waiting to get in for it to be safe, but that's their mission, right? Like they're trying to get in properly and efficiently, and that's not an easy thing. And that's what they've been trying to tackle for 5 years. Like this is not something that just started like
They thought, you have to remember, Wall Street already does, and the traditional market rails already do pretty capital efficient business. Um, and if you were to suppose that like the EVM was going to be the future, if that seemed like the navigation course, when FTX was getting, lining the pockets of Congress people and running the FTX exchange at high speed, if you thought that was the direction everything was heading, I couldn't blame you. It kind of looks like that on the surface, but after it blew up, that was the only thing that kind of kept Chia at bay. Is the market isn't ready. The market will be ready, and you can just listen to the roundtables that are taking place at the SEC, and with the Crypto White House Task Force, Bo Hines and David Sachs, and you listen to the language that they're using, and you realize it's just a slow moving thing, but it's a paradigm shift. So you're not waiting for a slow moving thing that leads to a slow moving thing that leads to a slow moving thing. It's kind of like this thing is taking a while, and once it's finished, everything will be different forever. People don't understand how special this time is. You currently are one of the only humans that have ever lived on the entire planet and will ever live on the entire planet who was born before Bitcoin exists, live to see American equities trade on a blockchain, and once that day comes, once those securities are trading on the Chia blockchain, every single child born on the planet from that day forward will be born into a world where the Chia blockchain already existed. The market was already happening. Imagine you were walking down the streets of New York and someone said, "We're coming up with this idea. We're going to call it the stock market, but we can't figure out how to get anyone excited. So we're handing out ownership in the stock market just in case we get companies on board." That's kind of how ridiculously open this opportunity is right now.
We're really
The
lucky that
coin
this is even open.
secures the market.
We're lucky that this is crypto and it's even open to us. Like,
That's why you
so
cannot blame anyone but yourself. When you see that Gene is just telling you the truth in broad daylight, pulling no punches, you see that Bram is telling you the truth in public, pulling no punches, you kind of realize, oh, it's so much bigger than me. No one was ever going to come knock on my door and say, hey, just to let you know, 2 weeks from now, we're going to put the stock market on the Chia blockchain and you got to get a crypto.com account to buy some of this. Like, no one's going to do that. You're going to wake up years from now and see some news show talking about some event, and the relevant topic of the day will be the Chia market cap. And for over, 100% of the Tangang will look at that and go, yeah, I knew that was coming eventually. And the rest of the people will look at it and go, where have I heard of that before? So the only difference is, are you paying attention? Are you taking the information that is publicly available for free and then acting on it? Or are you sitting back and waiting for somebody to hold your hand and say, here's the 10,000X, just wait 52 weeks and I'll lift you up over everyone else so that you can tell them about how smart you are? Which one do you think is more likely to come in?
Oh wait, and the price probably will pump because every human that has it will sell. Every human, and then it'll be
Well,
like, oh, why does the price pump? It's like, well, there's only one way it can go at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not.
8 billion people on the planet. There's less than 200,000 of them actively trading at least the meme coins that I can see every day. You're talking trillions of dollars. Let's just start with billions. Okay. Let's say that by the end of the year, the first dividend issued payment is over $1 billion. That could be a pretty big goal. You'd have to ask Chia and Permuto, but I think I could see $1 billion of cash issued on the Chia blockchain by the end of this year. And if that's the case, that's already more dollars than there are people using the thing. So it's like, what direction does the price go, GRC?
Yeah, no, straight God candle. But as he always does, Tom Beppe is just always supporting me, and I do the same to him. I try to. But I've topped this out at 6,000, but that was only with Gene. We're getting way more views now than I'm talking about. And well, I've been like merging the conversation to wherever my brain goes, like I am. And we've been getting a lot more viewers and a lot more people that are participating. Keyword participation for me. There's like 2 dudes on Twitch right now that are getting such supreme alpha, and they're confused about that over there on Twitch. But I want you guys to, this is what I actually want. I am allowed to say what I want because I'm allowed to be transparent. All I want is to have a fun, and I will do the work provided, of course, a fun, interactive stream. I don't care what we stream on, but I like to chat. I like the chat. I like the vibes when there is a chat. Right now, YouTube's that spot. We get a lot. So go ahead. I'm going to drop this, and I am paying attention to the giveaway. So I haven't picked them yet because you can still retweet. But give me some, if you're on Twitter, show me some love, show Tom some love, and I love to see his little face spammed everywhere. Tom, good guy. Hey, real quick before we go any further, I also want to just show someone this. I'm gonna, like Cookie said, don't spoon feed people, but I'll spoon feed you for a second here. So this is a website called 9mm, right? And this is exactly my experience, how I got Ethereum assets onto the Chia blockchain. I'm not saying the most efficient way. I don't know. I did not put bubble charts together on everything. This is how I did it because I have a lot of this one. I got a lot of this one. And so I wanted to buy some stuff. So the first thing I did is I asked a couple of community members, and I didn't really know about base chain because I was out of the loop. They said, oh, base chain, great, L2, cool. And, we have Pulse chain, which I had lots of assets on. We had base chain, which I was using as a layer 2. And then there's the Chia chain. So what I did was I bridged over, which most of you guys know how to do. Most of you can do it from your wallet probably, but base Ethereum. And then I bought in the case of a new guy, the first thing you'd probably snag here is some XCH. So, okay, once I go through and I buy this XCH, I'll quick swap.
Can I give you some alpha?
Yeah, please.
Go to 9x.9mm.pro.
Really?
9x.9mm.pro is a DEX aggregator that will route you through any and all liquidity pools to get you the best price on your swap. So when you go and swap for WXCH, You're going to tap the 9mm pools because the Tangang has the most liquidity on any chain for Chia. And you'll probably get some savings by partially tapping the Aerodrome pools, which predate 9mm's deployment on base. So you're actually able to usually price compare. And when you swap ETH for WXCH, you'll likely be getting a much better exchange rate on 9X than you would on even just Aerodrome by itself or 9mm by itself, because it's able to go and get sources from multiple pools.
Is this a? Can you swap to base on here too? Like
Up in the top right corner, you can
Oh.
change your chain to base.
Interesting, sick, perfect.
Up
Yeah,
top,
so
top, way higher right, up in like the way up there. Yep, click that, and then base chain. And now you can do exactly what you were already doing, but even without a wallet connected, you can see what the rates would be. Like, put 1 ETH on top and see how much Chia it gives you, and then just compare that back to 9mm.
yeah, no, for sure, I will do that right now. So we got 1 ETH at $2,695 gives you roughly 204 XCH.
And do you see how it's going through Aerodrome V3 and 9mm V3 for the route?
Dude, I got so cooked, bro. This is such good alpha.
You did.
Dude, you get 183 over there, 204 over here, guys.
Think about missing out on 20 Bitcoin because no one else outside the Tangang is telling you how to do that.
Do you see why I'm always preaching that, like, 7.2 ETH? Like, don't. It's because of this. I'm friends with him. He created this. And I still have to put in effort and learn routing options, right? Routing options are a big thing in crypto. And guys, I just pulled it up. 1 ETH gets you 204 WXCH on 9x.9mm. And then it gives you 184 on the alternative. So that aggregator is getting you the best deal. A 20 XCH better deal on 1 Ethereum. That is such good alpha for me because, like I always tell everyone, I start slow and then I move in, but I start slow with the purpose. I'm starting slow with the purpose of putting a certain
going. Yeah, to keep going.
Like, right. But I want to be able to, when let's say like Gene says, ticker Chia is the new gas token, and then I have to spam. Like I'm going to have to be ready with a big chunk of ETH right there. So,
so here's some more alpha for the gang.
Hell yeah.
When you are swapping Chia coins, you always, for now, things will change, but for now, you always want to compare the rate of swapping directly in Tibet swap with the rate of dexy.space/swap. Because dexy.space/swap will use the Tibet swap route for any V2 liquidity that exists. But you know those offer files that people can post where they're kind of doing OTC deals? The Dexy Space swapper will also see if there's any offer files that are floating out in the world, so it can aggregate V2 liquidity from Tibet and offer files that are just broadcast outcry anywhere in the world, which gives you sometimes a better route or a better price. Now, the reason I say to compare is because if there are not any offer files that are floating around, Dexy Space is simply using Tibet Swap for the whole transaction, and they have to pay the developer fee. So you're kind of paying a fee to Dexy to pay a fee to Tibet, and you'll get a slightly smaller throughput than if you just went Tibet. So those are the two sides of the coin. When you're in the EVM, use 9x, which will be available on Ethereum soon. When you're on Chia, compare Tibet Swap and Dexy Space. There's also a new aggregator and combined offer tool called Pussy. I just don't have the URL off the top of my head, or I would give you that. But I'll find it after this and I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah, so that's good alpha. I have a quick question. So like when I go to trade sometimes for Versace Ferrari Vegas, and I'm on XCH.trade. So if we go here, a lot of people I feel like probably go through this same little wormhole that I do. So you go to XCH networks, like, and you were kind of explaining this, but you go to the list of networks here up on XCH trade, and we'll just go give it a little flat. XCH trade is where you really need to look at the metrics because otherwise you're just being dumb.
Go back to XCH.trade real quick. I'll show you kind of a simple way. Click on like Versace Ferrari there at the top. So this will open up with like the price chart, but that blue button in the top right, it says actions, and there you can go directly to trade on Dexy or trade on TibetSwap. So I usually just open them both in different tabs because then I compare the price. So on Dexy, where it says trade, these are offer files. Tap the swap button to the right of trade. This is aggregating liquidity from TibetSwap and any open offer files. So if you put XCH on top and Spacebucks, it looks like is on the bottom, go ahead and just type 20 XCH into the top. It'd be like a big order of Spacebucks. Yep, you got it all set up. Just type 20 up top. And then let's read down below. It should tell us the route, and it says some offers and TibetSwap AMM.
Yeah, so two offers.
So what that's doing is Dexy Space is finding liquidity by using TibetSwap for the V2, and then it also saw that there were some OTC offer files out in the world, and it knew that the price that was being asked in those offer files, when combined with TibetSwap, would actually get you a better order than if you just go to TibetSwap and do 20 XCH for however many Spacebucks you want. So that's just a little, you can just compare those kinds of things. Beppe probably also has some offer files out there because it's a very liquid coin. It looks like that particular swap was just for TibetSwap, but Tom's always putting different offers on the timeline. The community is too, so you'll find eventually, the orders are more efficient when they're aggregated. But something like Ticker Chia,
and that's a big deal, though. The aggregation
just to Tibet.
That makes it like 150,000 times easier to buy, is what you're saying.
Yes. If you only use TibetSwap, what you risk doing is taking an inefficient price that an arbitrage bot is going to sell back to you. It's probably, unless you're throwing a lot of money at a trade, it's probably not actually going to crush you. But it is money you could have had in the form of the coin you were trying to buy. So it's just smart to compare the aggregated routing with TibetSwap's native routing, just to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. Vlad was asking, is that all on Dexy Space? They're two separate websites, dexy.space, and then it's like v2.tibetswap.io, I think. But if you go to xeh.trade, any asset you click on will have a hot button called actions where you can select to trade on Dexy or trade on TibetSwap. And I usually just open them both up in new tabs and use that.
Yeah, so I just purchased on there. You guys could see on here. I just purchased 5 XCH worth of Ticker Chia. Yep, I've been doing giveaways. I don't know if I'll be giving away my Ticker Chia anymore, though. Yesterday, I got cooked. A $25 giveaway turns into 200 piece in 5 seconds. No, I'm kidding. But today we are giving away, guys. If you are interested in it and you have not yet, I will post the tweets. We have gotten through an enormous amount of information. And at the end of the day, what I really want to say about all these links, all this stuff, is that they are 100% interoperable with Ethereum and Pulse Chain. That's really the point that they built the infrastructure. I want to get the point across to people that want that idea, because guess what? I can trade my ETH, my Pulse, my Solana, my anything with the protocols that I just showed you. And then guess what? If you buy anything on Base wrapped, right here, baby, no worries at all. I've used this thing I used it twice this morning. Super safe, super chill, cross-chain messenger, bridge interface. Let's click on it. You go here. You go to Base. You go to Chia. You go in wrapped XCH amount 25,000 to Ethereum, or vice versa. You know the deal. Ethereum to Chia wrapped from the 9mm base. God damn it. Wrapped from the 9mm base. You click this button. and it'll actually generate, yes, I do have 300,000, 400, that many all the time. And I have way more than that. No, and I'm smarter than you. No, kidding. That's a fake number. So then I will say switch chains. It will ask me to provide my Ethereum wallet up in the left. And then on the right, it will ask you to provide your Chia wallet. This will do all the heavy lifting for you. And it will unwrap your token and send your XCH to your wallet super effectively. Takes a few minutes, so be chill with it. Promise you that it's not stuck, even if it bugged out at all. I've done it 100 times.
Yep.
So there's that. So that's the bridge.
And the reason I wanted to show you 9x for sure is because it'll work with any token on all of Base. When it comes to Ethereum, it'll work with all of the tokens on Ethereum. So you may be familiar with the 9mm revenue share incentives. When you use 9x, even if the swap is going entirely through Uniswap on Base or Aerodrome on Base, you're still paying the very, very tiny protocol fee to the 9mm team, which goes into the revenue share. So even if you're swapping a coin you bought that is exclusively found on Aerodrome as far as its liquidity, you can still swap it on 9x and you're going to get the best price. You don't ever have to worry about like, oh, does Uniswap have the pool? Does 9mm have the pool? Does Aerodrome have the pool? Does Balancer have the pool? One-stop shop, get the best price.
Hey, imagine if you wanted to create a bridge from like one blockchain to the other. And so you actually saw someone else that was doing that on that chain. So you were like, why don't we make it better than that one? So people use ours instead of just spamming it all over the internet.
Yep.
And that's what I'm talking about, guys. And it sounds like a small point, but it's more of an ethos. It's more of like, I want to do things better because they can be done better. And we have the tools right in front of us. And some people have the capability and the teamwork effort. We're all going to pay off from this. I'm not saying Ethereum is anything's going to happen to anything quickly or anything. What I'm saying is that Chia has the tech to handle legally
Yep.
handle these.
It's the only blockchain that is legally allowed to issue securities to U.S. investors. The U.S. is the largest consumer nation on the planet. We exported cheap labor to foreign nations, and we do all the buying. So if you're in the market for numbers to go up, you need the American equity. You need American investors. No other chain has the custody, the decentralization, the security to be able to offer this platform or these technologies to the investors. So it's just Chia as of now. Maybe in the future, someone else will try to fish the stock market off of this chain. I think they'll find that to be a pretty steep hill, but there's only one. So one market is the name that is going to be used to describe a global outcry 24/7, 365 trustless, censorship resistant market where investors from all over the world, whether they're accredited or not, will have permissionless access to this public ledger. You're going to get the additional benefits of the Climate Action Data Trust, the partnering with World Bank, and then eventually these securities being issued on chain as an additional benefit to the consensus, because the risk of reorganized blocks is greatly deterred by the need for these institutions to maintain their correct balances, ledgers, and transactions. And so the longest chain or the heaviest chain or the true chain, if you will, is most likely going to align with the world's investors' money. People usually think that when we talk about these trusts where you're depositing shares, they think that there's a bunch of people hiding in a room somewhere that own all the world's money. But what they're not realizing is it's all of our money. Your retirement fund and the 401k is going to a financial institution that's investing in a diverse basket of goods. It's all of our own money. So the same reason that the dollar is still the most liquid asset in the planet and it didn't just become banana peels today is the weight of the provenance of who issues and is responsible for the redeemable value of that asset, that dollar. In this case, it just happens to be digital rights to Microsoft, Apple, and Broadcom stock, but the concept is eerily similar. The value is in the actual need. and the need is being, met with solutions, and those solutions are being provided by Chia Network and Permuto Capital. That's why you don't have to know 100 different blockchain names. There's a reason none of them have ever mentioned Chia. It would be immediate death to their project. And within a matter of days or weeks, Chia is going to be turning on ACH for XCH, where you can literally just take your paycheck as it comes in from your employer and, richest man in Babylon, take 10% of your paycheck and just automatically ACH it directly into Chia. So what happens when the whole world goes from, okay, write down these words, be terrified every time you do anything, spend this much money anytime you do anything, to just, I'm going to invest my paycheck in this technology that secures American investor equities. And I happen to be on year 4 of the next 150-year cycle of market indexes, according to the Dow Jones. So there's never been a clearer division between the people that got it, that see it, and the people that don't. And the people that don't see it might actually see it, and they're just not telling you.
Well, I think people see things. It's like I could see that if I wanted to win Mr. Olympia, I might have to do some steroids. Like, I might know that, but I might not want to do it because it takes also like lifetimes worth of effort to have enough. Effort is the key word here. You need a little bit of effort, and people don't even want to put in effort. They don't think they can find the next thing. They don't think that they're around when the next thing's getting talked about. Yeah. They don't think that cookies or anyone around us has any control over anything because they've been living in that hole forever. And they believe it's a belief system. What's the huge difference? Like, in a vacuum, cookies does whatever he does at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I believe in cookies. And then someone else could just be like, well, I don't believe in cookies. And then it's like, well, fine.
Believe in me. That's why it's
fine, but
I don't do it
for 5 years watching this dude do the same thing. And you're just saying that because you saw him tweet once about something you didn't like.
They're just,
I don't want to look into it.
They're a little far off of the table I'm sitting at, but they can get there. I didn't start here. I didn't start with I'm copying off of the smartest kids tests, bro. When Gene shows me his test on the public timeline and anyone else can read it, I pay attention, man. That guy's getting good grades, so learn from these guys,
Aura coming out of his effing, when a dude's kind of priming out, as far as he's in his prime and he's walking around in it. Whenever I see Gene, I'm like, man, I hope I'm that dialed in one day about something.
Yeah. No,
something.
He is an expert. And this opportunity is not something you have to FOMO into. FOMO is something that happens because we think that we're player one. I'm telling you, the opportunity is so abundant. After you and I become old men and die, the world's still going to be trading equities and issuing new equities on the Chia blockchain. We can't mint. You're so early. You could make your first buy at hundreds of dollars per Chia, and it's probably still very much the right buy. You just don't have to pay hundreds today. That's maybe why it's a better buy.
And things are compounding when a chart has actually matured and is at the bottom of where it's supposed to be, and people have made a open landscape for it to be the way it is right now. They didn't ask every single person to funnel in and do. They could have hired whoever to spam whatever, but they didn't because
pops all of a sudden. I don't know if you have a cord bumping into it, maybe.
That might fix it. Maybe not. And anyway, guys, I think we're good here. I think it's on your. You guys can hear me in the chat. Internet lag. Hear it too. Oh, okay. It's just an internet lag. Anyway, Guys, we gave you a host of information today. I got so much love. I will be posting who won the competition below of the tweet. Stay tweeted and then just send me your XCH address to your messages, to my messages, and I will send that over to you. Make sure you subscribe to Orange GUI. Put your notifications on. You can get alpha if you just listen and you just watch certain people, and join the Tang Gang Discord. We already talked about the Tang Bears. Once you figure out how to get in, and if you're like, hey, I don't have any, just message me or message someone. We'll get you in there. Don't you worry, I think. And Cookies, any final remarks? I mean, the final warning. This was called the final warning.
Yeah, the final warning is this. I don't work for Chia. I don't have a connection to Chia. I don't get paid by Chia. Gene doesn't slick my pocket with any kind of incentive. I'm very grateful to have gotten to learn the publicly availed information and to be able to understand enough of what's being said to see the value in it. The timeline that I'm personally operating on, and I'm 100% transparent about this in every single space I'm in, and I could be wrong 100%. So just let it be known it's totally an unnecessary opinion. It's one I'm sharing with you because maybe it helps shake your mind and realize there's not unlimited time on this offer. By this summer, Donald Trump intends to celebrate America's birthday, and he's been campaigning on America as the most pro crypto country in the world. That's his pitch to the crypto investors, is that America will be the base for crypto. The time still remaining for Chia to probably get the approval on all of these amendments to their S1 statement for issuing new securities on chain. The first companies, Microsoft, Apple, and Broadcom, look to be on pace to begin trading this summer, sometime this summer. Well, let's say July 4th, America's birthday, Donald Trump is talking about, the new American Renaissance. And of those things, he talks about crypto as being a pillar of the future of finance. And then within weeks, right? Within 2 to 6 weeks, you're going to have a declaration of approval from the SEC to begin trading Microsoft, Apple, and Broadcom equity on the Chia blockchain. And then you're a couple months or just more weeks until the first of those equities pays a dividend on the Chia blockchain. So we're saying the word on the street is maybe to look forward to Dunktober. Everyone's trying to FOMO. They're either staying off because they don't want to believe it. It's too real. It could go too high. The math doesn't add up. I've never won that hard my entire life. I'm not buying that. It can't be real because I've never won that hard. So for you to sell me that I'm going to win that hard, I know it's not real. The other people who are getting in are thinking I have to spend every dollar I have between now and October on this coin. I'm here to put your mind at ease and tell you Chia is a good buy all the way up. The same way the Dow Jones was a good buy all the way up, and the Nasdaq was a good buy all the way up, and the S&P 500 was a good buy all the way up, and gold was a good buy all the way up. You don't have to freak out and think that meme of Wojak laying in his bed and he's like, if I don't make it this cycle and retire my family, then it's over. Like then my life is over. That you're not going to be that Wojak in the Chia community. You're gonna have an opportunity to buy. You can buy at today's prices. They're much closer to the all-time low than they are to the previous all-time high. You can buy at tomorrow's prices, but here's what you can't do. You can't go to the bank and pull out enough money to buy Microsoft's market cap worth of Chia, and Microsoft's equity is going to start trading on Chia in a more capital efficient method than it currently does in the New York Stock Exchange or in the Nasdaq. So for you to FOMO isn't the correct angle. You should be pragmatic so that you never fire too large of a bullet at any given time. There's no need to try to impress anybody. Our size is not size. No one's going to screenshot the $5,000 buy and go, whoa, now Chia's really looking promising. That's not what we're waiting on. And you'll be able to, especially with things like ACH for XCH, just continue paying yourself first. When you are making money in life, call it 10%, some amount, and just slap it away into the thing that you want to invest in. If it happens to be Chia, then buy Chia. I am very bullish on XCH, but I am, regardless of the money aspect of it, a lot of the sentiment comes from an appreciation for the technology and the problems that technology solves. Because if it didn't solve those problems, you can put the price of eggs wherever you want. If all the chickens die, we're going to have way bigger problems than how much do these eggs cost. So we don't want to live in a world where we find out what happens when the boomers that are holding their equity in 100-year-old stock can't find exit liquidity. We all talk about the stock market as this great Ponzi scheme. We talk about Social Security as this great Ponzi scheme. It's just proliferated off of the birth of more humans and people going to work and paying taxes. You don't want to find out what a world looks like where the old generation doesn't pass on to the young generation. That's apocalyptic type dynamics. You want to live in a world where alien technology emerges in the ninth inning and delivers a solution that helps the older generation and the younger generation by providing a solution that had never existed before, and now there's mutual gains from exchange and aligned incentives to go forth and participate in the market again where they previously didn't exist. That's what's coming.
And my final note, I mean, that was amazing stuff. My final note is, just for kicks, since this is a crypto show, why don't we check out let's look at our favorite blockchain real quick.
We're seeing a lot of those candles for Solana and ETH and SWI. I mean, if they're still a network by then. But
there's some green at the bottom with my wrap pairs on Dex Screener, but then I'm going to all right, so a sea of red and death and pain for 5 years straight. Okay. Oh, wait, and don't you guys like trading coins and doing all those fun things? And don't you like green candles? Like, so we don't even talk about green candles, right? We're actually memeing about it at this point, literally.
It's just
we
know that the exit liquidity is the Federal Reserve, the central banks, and all the retirement funds. The same way it always has been. It's the most liquid market that's ever existed. If you think that your coin is going to get liquidity and it's not coming from one of those three things, then I'm buying Chia.
And we're talking about stuff that's fun and light. 18,000 XCH market cap there, roughly two. Like, that is a fun, light, new, accessible. And I'm not talking about this one in particular, although I've told you about it 7 days ago and it went up 411%. I don't like to highlight that as much. If you would have sold your Bitcoin at the time, it might be rusty frenzies. But in another winner in this space, and I'm just going to be honest with you guys, this is the last little tidbit of alpha. This is a never go down situation. I'm not talking about short term. I'm talking about community building. And like, are you kidding me? Like, oh my God, we joke around that this thing keeps hitting all time highs. It's because only people that want the token buy it.
Yep.
Actually want the token.
That's Jim, right? You nailed it. You want to know why the tickers on those other chains go down? None of you actually believe that bullshit you're trying to sell us. None of you actually think that Pulse Chain's the future of finance. You just can't wait for someone to make the price higher than your cost basis so that you can make a profitable trade on their expense. What you just identified is, we don't care about your money. We're buying it because we want to. You don't have to come in and become the all-time high. NFT Profit Master is going to do it again himself today. Grizzle's going to buy more again today. You don't have to worry about you being the exit liquidity. We are literally pumping our own coins because we love them. The reason that the coins on Chia go up are because those of you that have the mindset of, I can't wait to dump on someone and make a quick buck, don't even know how to go to the website to get Chia in the first place. So those prices are
You bugged out, but I know exactly what you're saying. You bugged out right after you said you don't. basically what he's saying is that, like, yes, I have made $1,600 on BetPay in the last 4 days. I am not running to immediately sell it the second that I made my money back, which I would do with other things, right? Like if Hex went to 10 cents right now, everyone and their mother would be trying to get out of that bridge faster than Jesus Christ himself and the Virgin Mary or whatever fun things you could say in those situations. But this is us joking around, guys. Like we're trying to show you by doing this too, that like the alpha is actually here and the spirit is actually here. And this has nothing to do with mad gains. This has to do with reality. Reality is an interesting place because while everything else is going down, some new things will end up going up on different chains that have product market fit and have real communities. People that are building and learning. And Tom, you know what Tom's doing today? Tom's he's laying bricks. He's like, I got a brick laying project today. Like, you know, blah, 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 blah. Having a good time. Everyone's real people doing real things. We're not lying to everyone just for kicks, right? Lying to people is easy. Like, but being right and then getting a little bit of hate is so much better. And like, it's so much better. And then the people that listen to you are like, wow, dude, you were being intellectually honest that whole time, dude. That's so sick.
Yeah, we don't have any rooms where we run a ticker up to some $10 million market cap and then we come to the timeline and I heard Tom Beppe is buying this new coin. You know, that shit is so stupid, man. We understand there are way bigger fish out there and that they're going to splash around and make waves. We are educating ourselves on our own level, on our own time, having fun while we do it, because if you're not having fun, don't do it, man. If it's a job where you feel like you're a slave in a system, then go outside and go for a jog. You don't gotta be in the trenches. We don't feel like we're in the trenches. People just keep deciding to go to war with things they don't understand, and then we have to explain that we're not using their caveman technology, their sticks and stones. We're throwing suns at their planets. So it will destroy everything. There is no community that's going to be able to rival the Tangang. There's no army that can go to war against the Bepe army. There's simply the community of cypherpunks, and we can go by whatever name we want. That's part of encryption. Is you don't even have to understand what the name of the room is. But we are always going to be pushing toward the right thing and trying to make more equitable outcomes. It's very simple. Align the incentives so that if we all start rowing, everyone gets a better outcome.
And you can't outgrow one person in these. Like, that's the other thing. Like, in whatever, you can literally, a price chart can go up so fast that 3 dudes got in, and then for the rest of the year, people are going to be talking about it. Guess what? 3 dudes just made all your money. Have fun.
Yep.
Like,
and it's the same 3 guys every time, Jim Rat, because what they do is they instill the fear of you taking chances. They rig the game and they fluff the numbers in ways that require money. And so you actually thought it was normal and organic, but it's what we call the cost of business. The mob is willing to spend the money all the way up until the cost of actually investing in business to steal the money from you. So these grifters will spend real money that they stole from someone else in the past to artificially inflate their projects, use the green candles as a cult worship ceremony to become more popular, and then they're going to turn around and sell it to you. Or, oh, the exploit, oh, they're minting more of this coin that your superstar dev allegedly audited 3 years ago but just missed this thing. Then they said that the project was dead and sold all of their coins for cash and bridged out. Oh, but now they're back and they're convicted in the possibility of, if we do this Rube Goldberg lever and we push this button, then magically the $3 trillion of collateral we need will just no longer be a talking point and our money is going to be... Dude, you're a delusional victim of a cult, and you need to go to the library and check out The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. And you need to read it cover to cover a couple times. And then you need to go read the S1. Chia Network Incorporated and Permuto Capital file new security registration with the SEC. You need to go read so that you stop making these foolish mistakes of believing that these 3 clowns are actually the wise men who just keep fucking up all the time, and that's the excuse for why you should keep supporting them is, well, we just didn't know that this part of the ship was going to fall off and 30% of the passengers were on it, and so they're all out in the vacuum of space, but we sealed up that hole. Now it's watertight. I don't think I'm dealing with astronauts. I think I'm dealing with assholes and people that are stealing money from people. I don't think they have any answers. And if they did, they would look more like the Chia network or at least the Tang Gang. But because they're neither of those things and they continue to proliferate absolute nonsensical Rube Goldberg scams, it's probably more likely they're engineering theft as a means of income.
And they don't even do it well. If you
Yeah.
really get into it, like once you're into I went pretty down the EVM rabbit hole as far as trading is concerned, like intellectually. Once you really know, like these dudes will plop like 750K in a liquidity pool and then just
Yes.
I'm like, you don't even know how to pump the
GRC, there's no inflows on the bridge. Where did the new $500,000 liquidity pool come from if no money came across the bridge?
If I took a
Sometimes the call
screenshot,
comes from inside the house.
if I took a screenshot of my pulse chain bridge, everyone would be so like, oh, this is reality. Like what reality looks like is 277 bridges for about 0.7 ETH each.
When Chia needs the U.S. bank to hand over the stable coins of USDC that they're going to bridge through Warp.Green, they're going to be bridging millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions and then billions and then tens of billions and then hundreds of billions and then eventually trillions of dollars. So they're never going to need to bridge trillions of dollars because by the time that millions becomes hundreds of millions, the groundwork for never needing to rely on this stupid infrastructure that is effectively only there because of the overinvestment in Ethereum by the Coinbase executive team. We're just going to do it better. We're going to have XCH listed on Coinbase. We're going to have every major exchange listing them or going out of business. And we're going to have payment rails, traditional payment rails that can seamlessly integrate with the Chia network. We don't have to play this game of, oh, big whale just moved $300,000. If I thought $300,000 was a lot of money, then I wouldn't be in crypto. I'd just go buy electricity utility companies and I would just let them pay me the dividends every quarter, and I would say this is the most money that can be made in the market. It turns out that's not true. It turns out there are these high growth tech companies that are also throwing off cash a lot, and they need to be secured on the blockchain to get the most efficient form of free market trade. Okay, well then, you're $300,000 here, $500,000. It's not gonna matter.
losing you.
One rich guy wakes up and throws $1 billion on the Chia blockchain. There's nothing you can do about it. And there's more of them than there are ever coming to the EVM.
Yep. So we're going to leave it at there, guys. Biceps in the chat. Absolutely insane episode. I mean, we have 1,424 in here, guys. 59 live on YouTube. We're amping up. We're getting
Sorry
into
about the
the
shitty production quality on my side, dude. Just crazy.
Dude, it's been immaculate for like 96.4% of it. There's just like little lag outs, but they're all the way done. You got your point across crystal clear to me. And to everyone watching this that's stumbling upon this, you have been graced by the Lord Jesus H. Christ, literally, because it's just good information to have, especially if you're stumbling into crypto right now. It'll just give you like maybe a Discord you can join and start getting involved, stack a couple XCH, get involved, guys. I'll be live a couple times for the rest of the week. If any SEC stuff goes on June 5th, I'll be live streaming SEC again, and that will be Gene. Have an amazing day, everyone. Gooey, I mean, thank you so much. You cleared a lot of spots for me, like today, as far as 9mm and the aggregator and a couple things like that. Everyone got a little piece of what's going on. If you have specific questions, join the Tang Gang. Biceps in the chat, everyone. Throw it up, brother. Let's go.